Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and for those that are new here, hello, my name is Alicia. So in today's video I thought I would share with you my 5 top tips when it comes to growing watermelons. Now I know a lot of people struggle to grow watermelon, so I hope that after watching this video you guys are able to grow a big juicy watermelon for yourselves. Alright, let's just get straight into it. So my first tip is all about providing the correct temperature for your watermelons. So if you live in New Zealand, you want to have them in the ground between October and December. So then they're ready to harvest in February, March. So they take about 80 to 100 days to mature. So you're wanting the soil temperature to be between 21 and 35 degrees. A little tip if you're wanting to get your soil temperature up quite quickly, that is to use raised garden beds. Now obviously if you've only got a small amount of soil, it heats up a lot quicker by the sun, but then just think obviously if it's heating up a lot quicker, it can dry out a lot quicker. But we actually use raised garden beds here and I've found that it works perfectly. So just remember, watermelons like hot and dry, almost like drought-like conditions. So you'd rather have the soil slightly more drier than boggy, clayey, wet soil. So that brings me on to my second tip, and that is to limit watering. Now, you've probably heard the myth that watermelons need a lot of water to grow, but this is so not true. Watermelons are highly susceptible to rot and all sorts of fungal problems, and I think that this is the number one problem that people are having. They're just watering their watermelon plants way too much and then they're rotting before you even get a formed watermelon. So here's what I do. I will water my watermelons right up until flowering and then I'll completely cut back. In fact, I actually don't even water at all. I mean, if you're getting the odd shower and rain, that's all they need. Unless obviously it's been like a dry spell for weeks, then obviously water them, don't let them dry out. But generally, yeah, I just barely ever water my watermelon plants. And so apart from causing a lot of rot and fungal diseases, another thing overwatering does is it can also burst your watermelons. So you'll sometimes find that after a big downpour of rain, you go out to check your watermelons and they've all got big cracks and popped open, unfortunately. And it also dilutes the flavor a lot. So when you actually cut back your watering, it actually like concentrates all the sweetness and all the sugars. And it just makes your watermelons taste a whole lot better. So if you know that there's rain forecasts, go out and pick your watermelons if they're pretty much ready, because if you leave them until after the rain, it will just make them all waterlogged and they won't taste anywhere near as good. So yeah, just remember what I said earlier, watermelons like near drought conditions, so just don't overwater your watermelons. And another thing to help with rot is you can also put a bit of straw underneath your watermelons. That tends to help too, so then your watermelons aren't touching the ground. My third tip is look out for pests and bugs and all those creepy little crawlies, because my watermelon plants this year got absolutely hammered by like aphids and thrips or whatever they're called. If you go out and you see all your watermelon leaves go all crinkly and curled up and not happy, flip them over and I guarantee you there'll be lots of little bugs all over it. So daily checks are super important, especially when the watermelon plants are so little, because it can just kill them really quickly. And how I like to just wipe all these out is use neem oil. It's a natural insecticide, really easy to use, and it's natural. And while we're talking about pests, we may as well talk about fungal diseases as well. Watermelons are highly susceptible to powdery mildew, and one that we've got this year is it's called, what's the word? Starts with A. I'll put it up here, alpha something. It's like lots of little black spots all over the leaves. So we got that this year. It's like a fungus thing. So what I've done to try and eliminate that is use apple cider vinegar. Use apple cider vinegar for anything that needs a fungicide. You just mix it 1 part to 5 parts of water, and I just spray it weekly. And it has, I'm looking at it now, it has started to work. So we've got lots of new growth without all of those spots over it. So I'm happy with that because I was a bit worried. Next tip is fertilizer. You feed your watermelons and they will feed you back. So they need very rich soil full of organic matter and compost and everything. So over the winter I will put a lot of chicken manure, horse poo, just everything like that over it, and then it's all ready to be planted into in the spring. So if you don't have access to compost or organic matter, because I know a lot of people don't, especially if you don't live on like a rural property, we're just really lucky here that we have lots of it available. You can get seaweed fertilizer. It's really cheap. Like one little bottle makes hundreds of litres, and you can just use that as a liquid fertilizer and feed your watermelons throughout the season. But yeah, that is definitely a big thing that I've learned over the years of gardening, is you've got to feed your soil and it will definitely feed you back. It will make your plants way healthier. It will eliminate so many problems. So I can't stress enough how important it is to make sure you have lots of compost and organic matter and make your soil all nutritious for all your plants to thrive. Now, this last tip can be a bit of a kick in the guts, and that is make sure you pick your watermelons at the right time when they're ripe. So it would be so devastating if you've grown this damn thing for 3 months and then you pick it too early and it's all white inside, and then yeah, you know the feeling. I'm sure you know the feeling if you've done this. So my last tip is pick the watermelon when it is ripe. Now I can tell you a few ways to know if your watermelon's ripe. The main one that never lets me down is if the tendrils are dry. So the tendrils are this little leaf that's attached to the stalk. And when this dries up, your watermelon will be ready. Another thing you can look for is the field spot on the bottom. Make sure this is a buttery yellow color. And then also the sound, when you pick up the watermelon, it will make like a dull, hollow sound. But those two are quite hard sometimes, so definitely make sure the tendril is dry. I think that is the number one thing to look for. It has never let me down, and if you're in doubt, wait a bit longer. Just be patient. I know it's so hard when you see this watermelon and sometimes they're huge and you're just like, it must be ready, and you just want to pick it. But just trust me, don't do it, because the worst thing is when you cut it open and it's not ready. So apart from waiting the 80 to 100 days, just check that tendril. If it's dry, you can't go wrong. And trust me, the last week or so is definitely worth the wait, because that's when the watermelon's absorbing all the sugars and just making it just taste delicious. So yes, that is my last tip. Be patient and wait until the watermelons are ripe to pick. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up today's video. I hope that these 5 tips helped you and you learned a little bit of something about watermelons that you didn't know already. And I wish you guys luck, and I hope you have a good season this year with your watermelons. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see how our watermelons turn out. We've got a few different varieties this year. We've got the Golden Gold, Crimson Sweet, Moon and Stars, Charleston Grey. So I'm super excited to see how they taste. They definitely still have a few weeks to go, and I'm going to be patient and wait. I'm looking at them now and they are definitely starting to plump up, and I'm getting super excited. So definitely stay tuned to see how our watermelons do. I'll catch you in another video. See ya.